guys, welcome to an episode of R&B Podcast. Um, Me, Stevie Street, and Miss J. How are you, lovely people, doing this?
Good evening. What is the 411? Good evening, all.
Good
Brought
evening.
my blonde back for Mary J again.
Yes,
Which
you're looking very sparkling tonight, Miss J.
Thank you, sir.
Or this very sparkling there in your hat and your hairdo.
Thank you, sir.
Impressive as always, Miss J.
Aw, thanks.
you know what? It's before we get into this album. You know, yesterday it's I was just saying how yesterday, we came spent a live show just to honor Dwayne Wiggins and some of the other people who passed away. But the hope is we can celebrate music, especially this album. And wow, I've got some great people coming in. Thanks, David and Boy Shade and NASA. Thanks you for joining us. So we really want to have fun this evening because this was a fun album. This is a fun, and we people have passed, but this is time for us to celebrate the music and the legacy. Before we get into the albums, we want to do some music news. Any music news, Stevie? Then Miss J. Hey, Joseph.
All the music news,
Any new releases?
It's all in my shameless plug for my radio show, the R&B Fresh. You can listen to it on mixcloud.com/Stevie Street. Play all the latest R&B, some oldies, 80s, 90s. You'll enjoy it. But there's some really good stuff in there. US R&B, UK, touch of stuff from Nigeria. It's all it. Shameless plug. There you go.
Shameless plug. Well, you know what, Stevie? If you could type in the link so we can post it up here, that would be great. Emily,
there is
welcome.
one artist. There's a Vietnamese artist called Jade Kenji, she's like one of these Gen Z artists doing New Jack Swing. Check her out, Jade Kenji. That's what I will say.
Okay.
I need to write that down. Stevie always has some good news.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a couple of videos on
everyone.
YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, was that the New Jack Swing? Tanya, welcome. Big Mike, Ed, welcome. Leon, welcome. Was that the one that you sent? Like New Jack?
Yeah, she's done a couple of singles and a couple of videos. She's obviously found a good producer who can make that sound. And she's making the videos in that 90s aesthetic look.
Yeah,
it's just interesting that there is some like Gen Z artists that have discovered 90s R&B, and it's their take on it, and what they're obviously influenced by it, and it's interesting what they actually do with it. I mean, I would say a lot of them vocally ain't up to the standard of what we're used to, but they're not signed to record labels. They're not being A&R'd. They're not being nurtured for a year or two before they even come out. So you hear them in the rawest form. But someone's got to support them, and I've got an opportunity to support. So why not? We'll get a few of them on the channel. RIAA, there's another one from London, Miss R.A.E. She's got a really good single out at the moment. I Found Loving. Check her out as well. Does the old 90s, wears all the 90s stuff, has a video with all their friends in dancing around. Yeah.
Okay.
What you've been up to, Jay? We haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. What's been going on? Any gist? Yeah. Any gist for us?
Any what?
Any gist? Have you been to any Levert Experience concerts or anything like that? I know that's going on at the moment.
Not lately, no. But he's touring. They're touring. I haven't been to any concerts. I haven't even listened to new music. I've been stuck in, the 20th century with my 90s and 80s music.
Well, I wasn't expecting that, but you might have, I don't know, have you discovered any new Michael Jackson songs or that you haven't listened to for years? Or
you know what? I did actually listen to something that I never heard, but Kenny Loggins. I listened to a Kenny Loggins song from 1979 that I never heard before.
Brilliant.
And Michael was singing backup, but it was basically, you heard him so loud like he wasn't even background, but it was amazing. It was a beautiful song. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's a good song. Richard Martin was talking about it with Kenny Loggins, and I was like, what? Let me look this up. So
yeah, Kenny Loggins he's got a great voice.
Mm-hmm.
He did the old blue-eyed soul thing, didn't he? He did that really well at the time. So he's got a great voice.
Yeah.
I liked him and the Doobie Brothers. I like him and the Doobie Brothers. So yeah. Michael McDonald, they were amazing to me. Good voices. They were soulful. And Michael was playing background for both of them actually.
Wow. I didn't realize that. Everyone, as you're coming in, please remember you're part of this show. Timmy, Lee, we're glad you're here. Joseph, as I said, Ivan from Norway, welcome. Emily out in Los Angeles, welcome. Last exit to Brooklyn, we haven't seen in a while, welcome. So as you guys come in, Tanya, 701 TN07, everyone, as you come in, please just give us a shout out so we know you're here as we talk about this album. So the summer of 92, Uptown drop this album. Now, of course, she was first featured on Father MC, I'll Do For You. And then, yes, I think she was also on his, what was that song that produced by Eddie F? One Night Stand. Ezekiel, welcome. And so, summer of 92, she drops the 411. What are your memories?
Well, hold on a minute, Namdi. Autumn 1991 is where it really started.
Okay.
That's where it started.
The soundtrack. Yes.
And she drops You Remind Me. And we'd not even seen anything of it. It was just like, you got this soundtrack. And people bought this out. DJs were buying this soundtrack just to play You Remind Me in the clubs. And then we got the single afterwards. But that is officially where the hype started with Mary J. Blige. And then when the album... I'll let you carry on now with the 1992.
Yeah, no, I'll just say, because generally, because you normally would see them, as I said, she dropped that album, that single there, but she also was featured on Father's stuff. So, people in the industry probably would say they've heard of her, but, when she then had her own video and busted on the set, what was your take of just seeing, I think it was, what was your take just seeing her bust out on the scene, as she was there? Let me even see what the first commercial single was that she came out with. The first one was You Remind Me. Yes, that was, it was officially released June 92. Then Real Love came out August 92 before Reminisce. But what was your impression when you first not just saw her, the music, the video, the whole looks and everything?
Who are you putting that question to, me or Miss J first?
It's to you, Stevie. Yeah, I'll start with you then.
I'm going to let Miss J go because I've got a lot to say. And I don't want Miss J to start. So Miss J, you answer it first.
So I was really young when I first saw Mary J. Blige. I was very excited. I remember watching Father MC. I was a big fan of his. So I remember hearing her and Jodeci background for him. And then when I first saw her was in her, I think the first time I saw her video was Real Love. And she was dancing and she had a great style, versatile, but it was like a urban, I guess is what people were calling it, like a hip hop style. It was like baseball caps, bustiers, blazers. I mean, she had a great sense of style for me, like a unique style to me. And she was dancing, and the Mary dancing now and the Mary dancing then is two different things. And I just remember wanting to see more of her because at the time I was young. I thought she was a good dancer, but people might disagree. But I enjoyed watching her perform, and I wanted to see and hear more of Mary because I loved her voice back then. The voice then was like really soft, also rough, but it was a beautiful voice to me, in my opinion.
Could you relate to her as a woman? Could you relate to her?
I was too young.
She was like 5 years old, Stevie.
I just love looking at her and listening to her. So I like her visuals,
Yeah.
Way too young to relate.
I almost think that she came out, especially when she came out with Real Love. I think it was almost like when Guy came out with Groove Me. It was something that everyone took a notice of, because if you think about how the music was prior to her coming out, there were we had your Jodie Watley, the Tracy Spencer. I'm trying to think, Vanessa Williams. I'm trying to think of the kind of image and what we were getting at the time. And then she came out with the baggy, with the cap backwards, and almost being like, yeah, what's going on kind of thing. And, they had Big Les and Fatima, the whole Uptown Dancers, and that sort of hip hop style. It was like, wow, what is this? I remember seeing that and thinking, what's this? It's new, it's hard, it's edgy and different. And it was really groundbreaking, because as I said, it wasn't the safe type of image that we were seeing. And of course, Puffy handled the production, overseeing the production with, Dave Hall and Morales and Rooney. But yeah, it was such a difference. So I think that impact that Groove Me had, I thought on this album. I mean, what about you, Stevie?
I remember vividly at the time, because every Saturday morning I would be in my local record store, and I don't know what it is for other people in other countries, but the record stores we had back then, like they were like record stores that would cater for black music. So it was like you'd meet a community of DJs in there and a community of collectors. It wasn't like going like round Target or HMV or Walmart. It was like a little store. There'd be a counter there, and all the latest records would be on the back. You could see them. They'd all be racked up at the back. And the person behind the counter would actually play the record to you, so you knew what you was getting. And you'd be in a line of other people, and say like they only had say there was 5 people in the line and they only had 4 copies of that record. You had to be very quick to put your hand up, because one person wasn't getting that record, because there was only 4 records to dish out. The Mary J. Blige album, when that dropped, personally, it was validation for me, because it caused divide. You've got to understand, back then, people were going in there to buy soul music, so they were kind of stuck in an 80s soul mentality or a 70s soul mentality, where they'd buy, say, a Sherelle or a Melissa Morgan, real big soul voices, or a Freddie Jackson. And then you had other buyers who would buy what it was called UK street soul at the time. The best thing I can relate that to is what Soul to Soul did. That bass heavy, mid-tempo, reggae soul sound. You go in and buy street soul records. So when Mary J. Blige came along, and you had people like myself buying New Jack Swing, all of a sudden the New Jack Swing people, the street soul people, all had something to agree with. There was a divide then. The soul people didn't like New Jack Swing. They didn't like street soul. But when Mary J. Blige dropped, like you say, because she combined the bits of everything together, it brought people together, but it also divided people, because some of the soul, the soul connoisseurs, as I call them, I'm not buying Mary J. Blige. I'm not sure about that singing. It's got a hip hop beat in it, so they just wouldn't buy it. You wouldn't hear it on their radio shows. Whereas like the more underground street DJs were like, whoa, this is fantastic. And she is the jewel in the Uptown label. She is the jewel. But what I would say in terms of that divide, is I look at, I mean, I didn't see it back then. I kind of see it now, but was Mary J. Blige the beginning of the end of the great black soulful female singer? Because before that, just think about what I'm saying here. You had Aretha Franklin, you had Whitney Houston, you had Chaka Khan. Mary J. Blige comes out, nowhere near that standard of vocal, and she's the new big thing. And you could say after that, there were so many labels wanting to sign their own version of Mary J. Blige. Was it the end? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, what I mean, when can you think of female artists back then? I know you were still young, and in their approach, you know, Regina Bell. I'm trying to think.
It's an amazing voice, very adult voice.
Yeah.
Look at the 80s equivalent of Mary J. Blige was Sherelle, because you got like, you know, you got you know, black female who were having kids at the time. They were calling the kids Sherelle. If they had a daughter, they called them Sherelle. Like in the 90s, you might get kids being called Mary after Mary J. Blige. But there was a huge difference in the vocal talent of, say, Sherelle than there was Mary J. Blige. Well, what do you think, Miss J?
I think B could be someone that is in the same vein in a way. I don't know if you remember B. She came out. She kind of has the same story as Mary J. Blige, where she sang background for a rapper. Her background singing was for MC Hammer, and she was West Coast. She was like with Oakland 357, and so she was rapping with them. You know, she was on the song "Juicy Got You Crazy" from 357, and so she did a lot of singing on hooks too, like urban R&B, rap, stuff like that. So it's kind of, to me, I feel like if people say Mary J. Blige is groundbreaking, I kind of don't know, because I feel like B was there before, because she was in the 80s, like late 80s, like 80s, 88. And she came out in the 90s too, probably around the same time as Mary J. Blige, but hers was I Don't Want to Lose Your Love, with a track that from The Emotions, I believe that was a remake. And I think Marvin Gaye used the same beat. And so to me, her voice was amazing. She kind of looked like Coco from SWV a little bit. And she had the same kind of edgy look in a way, where, you know how the West Coast versus East Coast, the style is kind of different. It was like she was the West Coast version of Mary J. Blige to me. So she was right before Mary J.
I see.
So that's why I kind of feel like, yeah, she doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, but you know, we spoke about this last night around that there was a massive divide between. That's why we talked about how Tony don't necessarily gain recognition. I say Jodeci, even musically, there was so much on another level, because they're from the West Coast, and there's a very big New York East Coast bias when it comes to how Jodeci, people would say they're from Carolina, but they moved to New York. They were based out of the whole New York and uptown. And so they were pretty much dressed and made to look New York, and they had to hit the New York stations. I think a lot of female from the West, they suffered from the fact that, you know, by the time their music went to the East, they pretty much said, no, we're not having that, and that's how those West Coast hip hop stuff did. But but we would say that. It was very much edgy, just like we talked about intro, like they did something groundbreaking. But I think for a female to do that and to handle it, and almost she gave this sense that she didn't care about what you thought. Right. You know, if you see in some interviews as well, she had you know, even look at the picture and there, we didn't see her, you know, she kind of almost covering her eyes and stuff. And I liked her vocals. I thought it was really emotional and edgy as well. But
let me put this thought out there as well, and you might be able to answer this, Nandi, because you've done all these interviews with all these uptown people. The question for me is, why Mary J. Blige? What was it about Mary J. Blige that Uptown Records or Andre Harrell decided she was going to be the queen of hip hop soul, when I'm pretty much sure that around that time there would have been far better female singers around who
they had the girls,
probably look better, could dance better, could sing better. Maybe not signed, maybe they had cassettes, demos. You know, you look at the story of, say, Crystal J. Johnson. Why didn't she? It could have been her. Jackie McGee. It could have been Jackie McGee. Why was it Mary J. Blige?
Yeah.
I'm just putting that out there.
And I think the one thing, so Jackie was signed on MCA, so they couldn't make the money from her.
But
they had the girls,
didn't she? Andre did say he wanted to make her the queen of
and Jackie
she said no.
didn't want that. She said to be what I didn't want to be. Chris Johnson, she also said, look, man, they wanted her to stop singing and being what she wasn't, and she also sort of backed down from that. I think, when I spoke with you told me and you saw me, who's his name escapes me now. You said of Strictly Business Sound 6
Jeff Red.
Jeff Red. His name just disappeared.
Right.
So Jeff Red got into. He was the one who he discovered Mary because somebody who he knew said, "I've got a tape of somebody that you should listen to." He heard it. He saw her. He went and spoke to Andre. Then Andre saw her, and so in soulful voice, he was green to the industry. So you could pretty much sign and take full control compared to some of the others who are already in established and stuff. Because the girl Monica, amazing looks, they could write, they could sing, produce, they could do everything, but they were already in the industry, so they've learned their lessons. Tammy Lucas was supposed to be in the girls, so when I first interviewed her, she said that she was supposed to be one of in there, but when she saw the contract, she opted out of it. So with Mary, it was like, look, man, we live in the hood. Whatever you want to do to get me out of here, I'm ready. So of course you can invest everything in there. But they saw her grind and they could see her sing, and she had her vibe, and so I'm sure they would say, let's invest in her. And I think Puffy believed in her because he as much as we can say about the Baby Earl and all that stuff right now, it's undeniable that actually A&R. He did an amazing job with Jodeci, but also with Mary. And it's stuff that definitely, when we think about the 3 albums he worked on, What's the 411, the remix, and My Love, it's hard not to argue that he knew how to get the best out of her when she needed it in those early days.
She's become a big star, and rightly so. So.
Consistent as well.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of where who someone back then saw that star quality, or maybe they didn't. It was either Jeff Red, it was either Puffy. Somebody saw something in Mary, and they were right because it took off.
It was so. Jeff when I interviewed, he says he takes credit for hearing the tape and in there and giving it to Andre, and Andre sent his A&R person. But when Andre saw her, we're going to do something with her, and because of what Puffy had done with Jodeci, he's like, take take this. So Andre did believe in her, and he gave Puffy got the best out of her. Took this very shy, and you can tell Mary still is a kind of reserved, shy person, even though she's when she's out performing. But she took this young girl who dreamed about being Anita Baker. It just seems very weird to think about contrasting styles, but that was her idol. That was what she be. But I'm so glad that they did something that no one else was doing, and doing this hip hop soul. And even though he gave her the tag, and he might have seen corny and stuff, but it's if you say hip hop soul, you think Mary J. Blige, and so yeah. So I mean, if you think about this album, 12 tracks, but I'm just looking at that. There was a Busta Rhymes interlude. It was just a Busta Rhymes interlude, which was his talk. But although, as I said, I may have consistent biases between this album and the remix album, but we'll read this album and see if we can go for our top 10s and stuff. It did 4 million in the US, probably did another 2 million outside. But okay, so we want to be able to go for our top 10. I mean, goodness, there's 11 songs. Well, there's 12 songs. So one song is going to miss out. I wonder on each of us. But anyway, I don't mind starting.
How many singles? Were there 8 singles or over the release in the UK and US?
I thought it was 5.
In the US it was just 5.
But really?
However, I don't know. Yeah, you always have to think about it because you guys they were just making singles and
we got one single, like a 4-track EP, and they're all remixes. But
which was that?
You know, we got remixes of change. There was changes I've been going through. There's a remix of that. I don't think that was a single in the US, was it?
But we did.
How do you get them? How do you get like 4, 5, 6 really great singles into your top 3? It's impossible, isn't it? This is the dilemma that I face with this top 10. This is really hard.
Yeah, hopefully you're not using the remixes because we've got another episode for
the album. But you've got like you say, you've got 5 or 6 huge singles here, and it's like, how do you get them in your top 5 or your top 3? It's just
yeah.
Did you find this difficult?
Yeah, you know what? I found, yes, I did find it difficult, and I think I had to keep playing it. And I'll be honest, as I said, if this was the remix album, it would be different. But on this album, if I'm listening to it now, I know that this is still hits. It still hits.
Miss J, how well do you know this album?
I think I only really listened to the singles. So, yeah, I'm one of those for this album. I like all the singles were my favorite songs. So even going back to listen to the entire album, the singles are my favorite.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think. Let me see. I think in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think the singles made my top 5.
Yes.
Don't give it all away.
Yes. No. Yeah. No, I'm not doing that. But I'm just looking at that. I'm thinking, okay. I think I could.
All right. Miss J, as she said, was very young then. So, which era of Mary J do you most relate to album wise?
Oh gosh.
Put you on the spot there because she's done so many.
That's a lot to think about.
What about the late 90s one with the Share My World album? Was you?
I think I was still okay. I get
you
stuck
too young then, or
singles. I don't know.
Do you have any Mary J. Blige albums in your collection? Did you buy any of them? No.
I don't think I do.
What about you?
Sorry. And I have OCD, and I get stuck on people, and that's who I'm obsessed with. So if somebody else came out and she was out and I was obsessed with them, that's all I was focused on. Like I love Tony, so I was focused on her. If they came out around the same time, I wasn't paying attention to anybody but that one artist I was obsessed with.
Yeah, that's like Whitney me Houston. And Michael and Prince.
Yes. Whitney Houston, Tony Braxton, Michael Jackson. And
the messages are crazy this evening. It's like I don't want to ignore these. I've been chatting that there's just so many messages coming in.
Yeah. Everyone's NMAC, welcome on.
There were
in the house.
Comments saying when I put that out about Mary, like why Mary. So there was people replying to that. Some were saying she's down to earth. Some were quite rightly mentioned she rapped as well. She did rap on this.
Yeah. But that's the one thing that you really
about that chin beats.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's true about Mary, because she didn't really change, and when she sang, it felt like she felt like, I won't say one of us, but she felt like, I remember one of my favorite show back in the day was Behind the Music on VH1, and they would talk, interview it's almost like Uncensored, or is it on Song? Much better, Behind the Music. And I remember one of Mary, and Mary said that when after the success of the album, they moved them to the country, moved them to the suburbs, and her half brother, he said that, man, he was so scared because it was so quiet and he was hearing crickets. And he says he's never heard a cricket in his life. And he was, coming from the hood in New York, and where there's, busy hustle and bustle, and he was scared of the quiet. And I thought that always stuck, friends, when they just move you out and bring you into different environments and stuff like that. But I love the Mary. I got this album, I got the remix, I got my life. Share My World is my favorite Mary album of all her albums. I think that was her the best production and everything. My Life is probably her most acclaimed, but I think too many remixes, so it's not as an original album. And but I think the remix of 411 remix is also, I prefer that to this. And but that's one thing I want to really just emphasize before we get into our top 10, is that Mary just continued to deliver. I mean, I think I'm just trying to think. I think she's delivered more than 12 albums. I think she's delivered more, but I think she's delivered more than 12 albums. And that is just unreal for somebody who came out in 92, to just be that consistent with a studio albums, 15 studio albums. That's unreal. That's unreal that she's done that. And so she deserves to be known as a living legend, and she's a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. Even I don't believe in all that because it's all rigged, but she beat Mariah Carey to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So it says a lot about the consistent support that she gets. All right. So guys, we're going to start with our top 10, starting from number 10 down to 1. So please, in your chats, can you put down your what's number 10 from the 411 as I start off with. So for me, even though this was produced by DeVante Swing, I thought it could have been better. I think the remix version of this is much better, but the original one, I Don't Want to Do Anything. The part that really got me was when they did the bridge together, and it felt like they just asked David Foster to come and help with the bridge in that. It didn't feel like a DeVante production. It didn't feel like a proper R&B. It didn't feel like All I See, Christopher Williams, which was the kind of DeVante and Uptown we're doing. I just was disappointed with this track, with the duet. So it starts on number 10 for me. I Don't Want to Do Anything, featuring
again. What is he?
with Casey of Jodeci.
You've done it again. You do it every single week, Nam. You do it every single. It doesn't sound like a.
No, it doesn't. It felt like he was trying to get Diane Warren to do the song. I felt it was missing. Now I just again see I skip. So that comes in at number 10.
Mate, production wise, he throws the kitchen sink at this record, Andy. There's every key change you could imagine. Every melody key change, grid, explosion, it's all going on in that record. All going on. You could say it is a bit too much.
Maybe that's it. It just felt like it felt like maybe they wanted to try and let's do a song that's like David Foster and Diane Warren would do, and it just didn't flow.
So it's the worst. Would you say it's your worst track on the album for you then?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't put Leave a Message, which I think I think I didn't put Leave a Message, even though it was an amazing. I think that was an amazing intro. That Leave a Message, but I didn't class that out. I would not put that in the charts.
Yeah,
and it was just
interlude that.
Yeah, so it was like an interlude, and I would just say that I left the Busta Rhymes one out because that wasn't her. It was a good, like, another interlude. So out of the 10 tracks, that was number 10 for me. The place is going crazy with a lot of people, in my view. Yeah, everyone is going through this. So, and yeah, everyone, please, you're part of this chat, so please keep commenting. Miss J.
I'm tripping on you right now. I'm biting my tongue, but I cannot believe you just said that about that song with Casey. It starts off like a Jodeci song. His what we know him to do. It sounded like the beginning of one of the Jodeci songs. It sounded like it was Jodeci featuring Mary J. Blige. He starts off, his signature, like Forever My Lady. And it actually does remind me of the Christopher Williams songs that you said it doesn't compare to. It actually reminds me of that song. Oh my God. Oh, okay.
There's probably something in the duet when they sang together. It just didn't do it for me. I think that was the part when they came together and sang. It just felt like, I mean, I love all I see is in my top 5 songs ever. But I know there's a massive gulf between the 2 tracks.
Wow.
Yeah. What about you, Miss J? What's your
So my top 10, my number 10, I flipped it. Because at first I was going to say, okay, I'm changing it. I had What's the 411, but I'm gonna change it to Changes I've Been Going Through. Because that one, I wasn't really into it, but yeah, Changes I've Been Going Through. I feel like it was kind of a filler album. Didn't need, there.
Yeah. And as I said, it is so hard for me because I listen to this, then I listen to the remix version of it, and I can see the difference. I can see a difference what a remix can do on a song, and it feels as if this was just, it had some vibe for it, but yeah, okay. What about you, Stevie?
Was discussing the other night on the intro podcast. I think we're talking about Puffy's rapping, and how I was saying, like, how can you listen to him rap, because it's just and one of the points I'm going to make now in this record is that you got Grand Poobah rapping, and there's a whole heap of, because Grand Poobah, when he rap, how he sounds is just one of those unique rappers that's got a unique sound.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And the rapping in What's the 411, that the tail off together, it was good. It was unique. It was clever. I think it's a good way to end the album. So I put it number 10 for me.
What?
It's a different,
It couldn't be anywhere else. You just said I put it number 10.
No, but I'm saying there's nothing. This is what I'm saying. The dilemma for me is there's no bad tracks on this album for me. There isn't like I was disappointed with this. There isn't at all. My dilemma tonight is how do I get this in from 10 to 1? Because I love this album so much, and that's there's a very creative way to last track on the album, and I enjoyed the rapping. It was unexpected that you got to hear a rap at the end, so it's in the title track.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's strange. I mean, I thought Grand Poobah in that early 90s was he had that lazy man, before Mace, it was Grand Poobah, and he was lyrically insane with how he just did his lazy rap and stuff. Really unique and different. And that's why I always appreciate Grand Poobah for that. Number 9 for me.
You also appreciate Puffy's rapping, don't you?
And be honest, and guys in the chat, can you put that test? Can you say in the early 90s up to before he did the Victory album, but think about Puff Daddy and the Family, and all the stuff he was doing. How I Need a Girl Part 2 and all that stuff.
Listen, if you've come up through 80s hip hop, let's talk about 80s, late 80s into the early 90s, and you've had a diet of say Chuck D, Big Daddy Kane, Cool Keith for the Ultramagnetics, all those rappers who had a certain flow, a style, a sound, and then you get Puffy coming along. The only reason he rapped is because he had his own label. No one was going to tell him, it doesn't sound good, this. No one was going to be around saying, I wouldn't advise you to rap because it just doesn't sound. I'd have told him, and I probably got the sack today. Or he'd have put a hit out. But it just, he should never be rap on records. Never for me.
Yeah, but you have to understand, he was selling. His raps were selling. his own album, being featured on everything.
So you want to hear Puffy rapping over a David Bowie record? You was happy with that, was you?
Hey, it was the thing at the time.
Sorry, but I'd rather hear David Bowie all day.
No, yeah, but as I said, and it would be different because during that time, when I was living and working on schooling in the States, so it just felt like that was the vibe. That was the mid-90s was Puffy, and so
you got David Bowie working with Nile Rodgers, and you got a great pop dance record in the early 80s, and then he comes and ruins it. He just ruins it, But he's
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think he made good party records.
And his notorious Blige to rap on Let's Dance. That'd have been another thing entirely different. That's what he should have done.
That's why he used that music, because the music was so good. He knew if he made the mix sound so good that some of us didn't even care what he was talking about. We just wanted to hear the beats.
Yeah. But it was the whole vibe. So what you're doing is that it's the whole vibe of what it was. But anyway, let us not get distracted. For me, number 9 is it is such a contrast when you listen to the original compared to the remake. And My Love is my number 9, but it just felt so. It was written by Kenny Green and produced by Dave Hall, but it on the original version for it is really, and as I said, maybe because I'm such a big fan of the remix version that when I listen to the original, I'm like, okay, this is putting me to sleep. So it just beats. It just beats. I don't want to do anything. It just creeped past that. But My Love is number 9 for me. It's one of the songs where it's like
such a big. That was getting played so much at the time, Namdi.
Yeah, we're talking about the original, not the remix.
I'm talking about the original as well. I'm talking about the original. That was such a big song at the time on radio.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was. It for me, if I'm ranking, I mean, it had to be in the top 10. But My Love, like David Yarden there, is number 9 for me. It's as I said, it's number 9 just because if I hadn't heard the remix, I probably might have put it a little bit higher. But when I listen to the remix, I'm like, yeah, goodness. I mean, shout out to Kenny Green for dope writing and Dave Hall for production. But yeah, it just creeped in for me. Yes. What's number 9 for you?
My number 9 is What's the 411. It wasn't. Yeah, just. I'm surprised they named the album that, but maybe because it was a catchy saying at the time. But and I'm not a big fan of rap, but I actually do like Mary J. Blige rapping. So maybe my ears are tripping, but I do like her rapping, and it's a number 9 for me. But there's so many other good songs on this album.
Yeah, as I said, they're pretty much only 10 songs. I mean, you've got Leave the Message, which is an interlude, and you have Busta Rhymes. So you pretty much are putting them all in there. So yeah, but I guess the infusion. Well, as I said, people look at me talking about My Love, and even though it's number 9, instead of saying positive stuff about it, I came across a little bit a little bit negative. But I think it was a very good track. But I think there were better ones on there. Stevie, what about you?
I originally had this at number 8, but I've snuck it back to number 9. It's so tough. Someone in the chat remind me of the hip hop sample. I'm not sure if it was KRS-One. The Bridge is Over. I need to listen to that record. Changes I've been going through made my number 9. Big hip hop sample. You could argue that the melodies, the vibe of it is a bit depressing. So it's a very down record to listen to. Putting the What's the 411 and Changes at 9 and 10. You could argue they were album fillers, good album fillers, not bad, good ones, and that's why they're at the top end of my top 10.
Okay. Okay. We yeah, you can see where how we're all going to be different today.
Well, you are, Namdi.
Okay. So my
That's
number
it.
8.
That's it. Twin Beats. Thank you. Thank you. It was Biz Markie. Make the
Okay.
music with your mouth, Biz. Make the music with your mouth. What record that was? Biz Markie.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
My number 8 is, it's, so one of the things, it sounds so strange since I've been back in the UK. People in the UK call, when you call it, they call remakes cover songs. And when you call it a cover song, it sounds very lazy, like you're just singing karaoke. But in the States, when it's called a remake, it almost seems like you've taken a song and you've given it a different interpretation.
Right.
So it's very strange. So my number 8 is not a cover song, but a remake. And it's a remake of a Shaka Khan song, which I think she really gave it a new lease of life, and really brought a new audience who hadn't really heard the original, gave it an exposure, and that's his Sweet Thing. I think I have to, the production crew of Dave Morales and Coley Rooney. For those who don't know them, they were responsible for a lot of the early production on Father MC's first 2 albums, and they were just amazing. I think it was Morales was one of the Fat Boys, and he had Tanya. You're on the you would help me. I think Soul Convention. He had his production crew. He had his own his little clique, and I was sadly not able to interview him before he passed away. But as a production crew, to 2 of them, when they did a lot of the early Uptown stuff, treat him like you want to be treated. Joe, Father MC, they did that. They did some of the best tracks of on Father's Day, and as well. So yes, Sweet Thing. They did the remake of that for Mary, and that's number 8 for me.
Wow, I can't believe you like.
What's your number 8?
Slow Down is my number 8.
What's goodness gracious?
Sweet Thing is better than that one. I'm sorry. Sweet Thing is better than Slow Down. But I'll say this about Slow Down, because I was trying to find something about it, just trying to get into it, and then I heard something similar. Okay, so you know how the guy that's producing on here, Dave Hall, he produced Reminisce, and some other songs on here, right? This song sounds like how he sings. It sounds like I heard it through the grapevine from Brownstone. And so and I'm like, why is she singing this? It was before they did theirs, because Grapevine came out in 95. And Dave Hall produced Grapevine. And I'm wondering, his name was not included on Slow Down as a producer, although he was producing on this album. He produced Grapevine, and it sounds just like that, like how they sing that, the hook. Did you guys notice that?
I can hear what you're saying now. I hadn't thought of that, actually.
Through the grapevine that you weren't feeling too fine. And she sings it just like that. And I'm like, what? Okay, I see the connection there. I can't be the only one, because the guy produced on the album. So maybe they
but that was Morales and Rooney. So did they?
Right. They did that first. They did Mary's first, but the same producer on the album produced Grapevine. That's what I'm saying. There's a connection from that song sounding similar to Mary's. That's all I got on that one.
Okay. So your number is Slow Down. Goodness.
Yes.
Wow.
You must love that song.
Yeah, it's a gem. It really is a gem, that record. Absolutely. Underrated gem.
And it should have been higher up. But anyway, Stevie, what about you?
I've got Sweet Thing. It was at number 9. I moved it to number 8.
Okay.
I think I appreciate it a lot more now than what I did back then, because it's Chaka Khan. And I know the original. I know the original well. And you're taking on a Chaka Khan classic. Saying that, though, vocally, Mary does sound very good on this cover version.
I think it's a remake, yeah.
There is a bit though, I will say this, Namdi, where she tries to hit this note and she bails out of it. She does it twice on this album. And I just like, oh, she's going for this. She goes, no. I've like, oh, it's too much. It's too much for her. She can't handle it.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
It is a great song, but it's it's not a great song. But I thought it was a great version. The mixes had a more heavier hip hop beat to it. But yeah, I appreciate a lot more now than what I did back then. I didn't listen to it too much back then. But I do listen, so it's at number 8 for me. It could have been further up. It's hard for me. I've always say from like this period now, once you get your album fillers out the way, it's tough now. It's tough to put these tracks in place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm.
You think We Think was an album filler or no?
No, I'm talking about what the 411 and changes I'm going through. Them 2 spots there. I usually put the 10-9 there, the album. Even 8, I would say. Borderline album but album fillers are not bad things because you've got great album cuts that were never singles, but they were just great album cuts.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder. I mean, if I'm listening to, I didn't come across where they just felt like, almost like Late in My Life, where they just said, well, listen, I felt like these were like, wow, great tracks, but of course you like some better than the others. And I think the fact that we're not all putting some of the same songs at the bottom, the same ones, means that actually, we all have different tastes with them. Number 7 for me is a track also produced by Morales, and I preferred this version to the remix, and I love the drums that just continue to go through there. I'm surprised you guys didn't really appreciate this. And this is Changes I've Been Going Through. Tick, 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 changes I've been going through. You really, I just love the haunting.
It's hard to appreciate when you're singing like that
now. I just love the haunting vibe of the track. And it's I love I love pianos. I love when people play the piano production in there, and really this is as I said, if I'm doing the remake album, you'd see it would be a different. David got that as come on, Melodic had Reminisce at number 7. Okay, we need to kick you out of there. Okay, so Changes I've Been Going Through at number 7 for me. All right, Miss J, what's number 7 for you?
Number 7 for me is My Love, because it doesn't move me. I like the remix better because that one moves me with Heavy D and remixed by.
Okay, you got Dio.
Heavy, he's my favorite. So yeah, this one didn't. I had to put it at 7. It didn't move me like the remix.
Yeah, well, we've got Tanya and both Dio as well, both simultaneously having it at number 7. So, and even M-Max put it at number 7. So, there's a unison in there. Stevie, what's your 7?
I don't know why this is at number 7, and I thought it should be the top 5. There's nothing wrong with this record whatsoever. All I will say about it was it's got a very jazzy feel to it. It's a great song. I probably played the remixes a lot more, but Mary wasn't a jazz singer. So for that reason, Love No Limit is at number 7.
You killed Miss J.
That's all wrong with the record, though. There's nothing wrong. It's a great record. It hurts me to put it at number 7. It hurts me, it does. But facts are facts. She wasn't. It's a very jazzy record. She wasn't a jazz singer.
Oh, she could have been. She could have been a jazz singer. Her former life.
No.
I think she was.
No, sorry.
Well, she was heavily influenced by Anita, so I can imagine.
It gives you Anita vibes. It gives me Anita Baker vibes on that one. Oh,
she's not Anita Baker though, is she? Anita Baker.
Stevie, I think that you
Anita
see some red cards there. I don't think. Look at that. Look at controversy down everywhere, so you can see.
I don't know why. I don't know why it's at number. I don't know why. I can't explain why I put it at number 7. It probably shouldn't be there. Probably shouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. Goodness.
So others, that could be. I could. If you're telling me that's your number 1, I totally get it. Honestly, I do. Don't get me wrong. Like I say, there's 5 or 6 singles here which could be number 1. And you got to put them somewhere, and it's a killer. It's an absolute killer. I'll take a yellow for that. I will take a yellow. Thank you very much.
Oh goodness. Okay. 6. So to lighten up the mood, I'm surprised you guys didn't give it didn't give this more. I think I love the production, the gen. I'm a massive fan of Pupa, and I loved his rap on this, and I think I listened to this and I'm thinking Mary should have rapped some more. I don't think she did any other rap in any other album song other than the remake of the What's the 411. But I thought, man, she probably could have done that Lauryn Hill stuff where she'd every now and then rapped and stuff. But maybe that's Puffy's thinking about, we'll get other people to do it for you. But I'm in my head where her and KC are singing it, but I loved how Grand Puba just, how he's talking and how she jumps in, and it's just the street. It ends the album, but it pretty much just this is what the album's. This is what it is. For those of us who at the time, I moved to the States in '92 when this came out, but I had no idea that What's the 411 is. It's like, wait, what's going on? So listening to this was an education for me, and I just thought it was vibe and duets, because I don't know how often you saw that female and male interchanging in a rap dialogue like that. So yes, What's the 411, Grand Puba, Mary J. Blige at number 6 for me. Yes.
Wow.
I like her rapping. I do like her rapping. I gotta say that.
Yeah, Timmy says this ain't like Grand Puba and Slick Rick, those lazy lyrical. It just felt effortless when he's rapping. He's I love Keith Murray because he's always fighting, but he goes all all lyrical with you. But Grand Puba just had that. Yeah, I'm just here. What's going on? I'm just talking. What's going on? And I think it just was like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, number 6 for me.
Someone said she still raps. Someone said she still raps. Who is it? Marissa she still raps.
She still raps.
Okay.
She still raps on her track featuring Brooklyn. Oh, Brooklyn is Mary. Okay, I never knew that. Okay, had the flow. Okay, what about you, Miss J? What's number 6 for you?
Whoa, it's the one with KC.
It's loving you. Okay.
Yes. I love Jodeci sound, and I love this track, but I had to put it somewhere, so it's 6 because the top 5 are hard. They're all good. So yeah, I don't want to do anything with KC. Number 6. I can't believe you didn't think it was great.
Yeah, I just thought that when they did the bridge together, I just felt, because that just did it for me. I love the beginning, but when they did the bridge, it just felt very old-fashioned for me. But yeah, everyone's talking about Mary's alter ego is Brooklyn. I didn't realize that, so thanks for getting me in there. She rapped the remix, rapping as Brooklyn. Okay. Oh, so my bad then. I just felt that, as Mary, I just felt that she was pretty much, that was a style that I wish she had continued. Evidently, she has. Okay. So, Stevie, number 6.
That I don't want to do it when Casey and Mary J. Blige back then were a thing, and it seemed to not last very long. But there is something on YouTube. If you've not seen this, it was a show in the UK in the 90s. It was called The Word, and it was presented.
Did you?
Oh yeah, back then I watched it every week. But it was presented by a guy called Terry Christian, who's from my city, and it was all co-presented by this girl called Danny Bear. Good-looking girl. So yeah, Terry Christian, who was you would call the cheeky mank. Really, sound as a pound, our kid. We got Mary J. Blige on tonight. She's coming on the show. And then you had Danny Bear, the good-looking co-host. But anyway, Mary J. Blige does a live thing, comes on the couch, and they start interviewing her, and they start talking about KC, and Terry's like, yeah, we had KC on a few weeks ago, Mary, and I just want to play this clip and see what you think about it. So Terry cuts to this clip, and it's Terry going, "Hey, KC, so when you getting married to Mary J? Because I believe you're getting married." And KC's like, "Nah, man, we ain't getting, man," and laughing away, "We ain't getting married." And then it cuts back to Mary, and her face is like, she just wants the ground to like swallow her up. But if none of you've seen that, because it caused a lot of problems. Yeah. She never went back on that show again, and I don't think she's ever spoke to Terry Christian again. She was really, really, really upset.
That was kind of mean.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube and type in Terry Christian, the word Mary J, the interview will come up. Just go and watch it. But anyway, let's get to number.
Steve, speaking on that, Stevie, it was. Mary had an interview where she said she doesn't like to do interviews because she just gets crazy questions, and you wonder why she's very guarded when she does interviews. And if you do watch that, it was very hard to watch because it was very. I mean, how do you disrespect? I mean, that's as I said, I when I think about myself interviewing people and really respecting people, to try and put almost set her up,
right?
A live show, and she's just come out. This is her first album, so she's new to this stuff. I just didn't understand how they need to do that. So, yeah.
Wasn't about they, it was about, like I say, the cheeky presenter Terry Christian, who was renowned at the time for he pissed off quite a few people when he interviewed him. I could see what he was doing with his interview style. He probably did it for more audience views and to get people talking about the show. But he'll probably tell you himself, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I don't know. But anyway, number 6, this again. On the podcast the other night, we were talking about records where you might hear a record for the first time and you love it and you get that buzz about it and you play it over and over again. And as you keep listening to it, that buzz then becomes almost like that shine glistens off and it becomes normal. You're like, still a great track, and then you go past even that where you're like, I'm bored of hearing it now. I've heard it that many times that I need to not hear it for a while. And this is one of those records that I heard too many times. It's I heard it in the clubs, heard it on the radio. It's a Stonewall. It's a 90s classic. There's no doubt about it. I did listen to it a few times the other day, and that buzz came back. It was at number 7. I moved it to number 6, and I'm thinking, damn, the buzz, the magic of that record, it's come back. It should be at number 1. It should be at number 2, number 3. But it's ended up at number 6. It's Real Love. Real Love has ended up at number 6 in my chart. And I feel terrible. Give me another yellow card, people. Give me another yellow card. I feel awful I feel awful for it being there. But I've just heard it so many times. I apologise, Mickey. I apologise for this one. I don't know what to say. Real Love. What's a good record, isn't it? Can we rewind the podcast and start again?
No. I think in top 6, kind of a hard one. I think once you get up to 6, you're pretty much you don't have much wiggle room, and it could be anything can go for that. But yeah, I mean, I had it much different than you, but I can imagine that. Okay, yes, as I said, we're now going into the top 5, and I think this was the best slow jam on the album. She did 3, and I think this was this was really good. And as I said, I must Corey Rooney and Morales definitely for their production on this. I love Slow Down. I thought, I wish I could push it higher. I just love they didn't do it too. She didn't over sing. She just kept it in a nice little chill vibe. I'm almost thinking I need a glass of wine as I'm talking about the song right now. But Slow Down, Don't Rush. Loving. I wish this was a duet. In fact, I'm glad she didn't duet with Casey because it would have spoiled the song for somehow trying to overdo it. But Slow Down is my number 5.
It's a very innocent sounding record. You're hearing Mary J. Blige at her most vulnerable in that record because she's saying something to someone, whatever she's going through, just please slow down. It's the way you can just feel it, really feel what she's saying in that record.
Yeah.
So I can understand why you like that.
Yeah, I love a good R&B, but this one really touched me.
Mick Jane had an employee to listen to that record a bit more. See what you think. See, as a woman, that song, like I say, coming from I think she was coming from a very vulnerable place when she did that record. That's how it felt anyway to me.
Yeah, and you know what? It was so hard. Even when they tried to do the remake, they did it. More emphasis on the drums, but it was just too good of a song to really make much of a difference on the remake album. Yeah.
Don't rush. You said slow down, right?
Slow down.
Mm-hmm. And that's what she says. When I'm hearing her say "Don't rush," I'm thinking about self. Don't rush, baby. Don't rush. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, I'm thinking about everything when the song is going on. I'm like, I was everywhere listening to this. Like, this reminds me of this. This reminds me of that. I can understand why you like it.
Yeah, I mean, Chimby's asked me if I'm a ballad guy over up tempo, and I think one of the things about ballads, good ballads, is that they endure longer. And so, my top 5 songs, oh goodness, what's the Michael song? All of a sudden, I can't remember the song. Lady in My Life, A House Is Not a Home, All I Want, and
wait a minute, All I Want as yet?
No. All I See. Sorry, All I See.
Okay.
Then it's the Boyz II Men on Bending Knees, and then the final one is the Bobby Brown. One More Time, One Night. And I think what ballads do, good ballads, it takes a lot more work to get them to work. But I do like up tempos, but on albums. But ballads are just on a very different level. They just stay consistent. So yeah, that's why I like Slow Down. Yeah. So Miss J, what's your number 5?
Top 5 could be in any order. It's
not in any order. Oh, you're saying that
they're all so good to me. These are the 5 singles. This one was samples Patrice. It's a Patrice Russian, and it's You Remind Me. I love it, but I couldn't. All these songs I love so much, I didn't know where to put it, so I put it number 5 because it's a great song.
Great.
Yeah. You remind me. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay. I mean, as I said, once you get your top 5, I mean, I think apart from your number 1, it's all over the place. Okay, Stevie, what's your?
When I was originally, before I'd even drafted this top 10, I thought, this is going to be this record's going to come in at number 8 or 7. But reminding myself of the album again, because I've not played it for a while, it just thought, nah, there's no way this could be like 8 or 7. So it's ended up at number 5 anyway, and it's the DeVante swing one. I Don't Want to Do Anything. That's made my number 5, and we have talked about it pretty much. So, like I say,
What did you make?
I don't want to do anything.
Oh, with okay. Wow, that's quite high.
Number 5.
That's quite high. Okay. My goodness. Okay.
That's the one DeVante throws the kitchen sink at.
I think. Okay. Well, my number 6, now number 4 is probably. I'm just looking through here. No, it's who did this one? Yeah, it's a song that could have been on the intro album. It probably was on the intro album, but Puffy said he wanted it for Mary, and so one of the 3 songs that Kenny Green and Dave Hall did, and my number 4 is Love No Limits. I would say if I was doing a remake album, it probably might be a little bit higher up because I love Casey's duet with her on that more so than I do anything. But I just loved the I just loved the vibe. I loved how the drums are playing on this. Love No Limits. Let me see. Did it get? Yeah, it was the last single release. I need to watch the video. The only video I can remember is Real Love and Reminisce. I don't think I can remember. I think I can probably remember Sweet Thing. I can't remember Love No Limit video.
Black and white. Yeah.
Okay.
He's in a jazz bar or whatever, like in a bar, and it's one guy, and she's singing.
Okay. Okay. And she's got Sugar Delights. Welcome. All the way from Michigan. Welcome. So okay. So we've got some. Melodic had You Remind Me at number 4. Tanya had Changes at number 4. Dayo had You Remind Me at number 4. So yeah, okay. Mine is Love No Limits. So Miss J, what's your number 4?
Number 4 is what you consider a remake, or did you say a cover? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we call it remake. It's a lot more fancier. This cover version sounds like karaoke stuff.
I bet you the singer I bet you Shaka Khan thinks it's a cover because you can't really impress that too much. She doesn't like people doing her songs, but
think of this. If you think about it, I Would Always Love You. If you hear the original one, if you sang it the same way Dolly Parton, she was doing a cover, but the way Whitney sang it, you don't think they're the same song. Or I Will Survive. You have Shantae Savage, completely different from the Gloria Gaynor version. So that's why it's a remake.
Do you think Mary's version is completely different from Shaka Khan's?
No.
Okay.
But you give it its respect as a remake as opposed to a cover version. Cover version, it just sounds. I'm sure artists would hate being told. British artists get used to be saying they're doing a cover version, but I don't think American artists would love it. They would be really insulted if you say you did a cover version. Yeah. What's your number 4?
It is Sweet Thing. I want to say Sweet Bang. I know it's an I in there, but I feel like it's about sweet. I think Mary said Sweet Bang. Okay. I love Mary's version. I do love it. And even though, don't you hear me? I love it's just, I love it. I love Mary's version. Number 4, Sweet Bang.
Okay. It's a recover. DJ all day said it's a recover. Yeah. So what about you, Steve? What's your number 4?
This is the one of the songs that I really, really relate to this song. And I'm sure some of us or most of us may have been in this situation where you meet someone or you're dating someone, and as men, we've all been guilty of this, I would say, growing up, where you meet some girl and you think she's so hot and so wet, and you rush it. You know what I mean? You're rushing because you've got the hots for her, and you rush it. You try to date and do this and do that, and you're doing everything you can because you want this girl, so you're rushing it. And then you might have had the other scenario I don't know, as a guy, I think I remember, and going back years now, I meet this girl, we go on a date, and she's, personality-wise, we're complete opposite. But there was something about her, I didn't know what it was. I did feel attracted to her, but for the first time I thought, normally I can't, you know, you're doing everything, you're bending over backwards to like get the girl you're into, but for the first time I'm like, I'm gonna take this slow. I'm gonna take this slow. I don't know why, but I don't want to rush it. And I remember a few weeks into seeing this girl, I kind of, you know, I spent the weekend at hers. It was like the second weekend, and I thought, this is going too fast. And then I remember it was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I'm in work, and I'm like, it's half an hour before I go home, get in my car and just go home. The phone goes, I'm in work, and it's her. And it's like, hiya. And I'm like, hiya. And she's like, I've made you dinner. I'm like, what? Dinner? And I'm like, you finish in half an hour? I went, yeah, I am, yeah. I made you dinner, so I'll see you in a bit. And I thought, yeah, I'll see you in a bit. And I'm like, I've got to go around this girl's house. She's made me, what? I can't not turn up. She's made me dinner. And I knew then I'm stuffed here. I'm absolutely stuffed. I can't, you know. So for that reason, at number 4, I wish it was higher, because I do, like I say, for personal reasons, slow down. You always like a good story, don't you, Namdi? There's your good story. Slow down is at number 4.
Okay, I think. Okay.
I'm seeing some of us can relate to that. So you're like, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
That's what some girls are like when a girl's into you. That, you know, if a girl, I'll tell you what I've learned. When a girl isn't into you, them shop shutters come down so quickly. The short, and that's it, it's done. But I tell you what, when she's into you, shop shutters stay open. They stay open, don't they?
This is what I wanted to. It's gone too fast, but this is funny. This story is longer than the song. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, that's definitely good. So, but Slow Down, I think it's very underrated, as VJ said. But definitely a beautiful track. We are going into our top 3, and I think for me, I think no, my top 2 are the ones that could have been either way. Mm-hmm. But number 3 for me is another track by one of the most underrated producers in R&B, Dave Jam Hall. He's done stuff for Michael, for Madonna. You know, he did stuff for Intro. You know, Darnell Jones. You know, all the Untouchable stuff. And he is, you know, he's the most underrated, one of the most underrated producers out there. He did, you know, the stuff with Brownstone. You don't really hear much about him. I've been trying to interview him for 4.5 years, and he's just quietly in the studio just making music. You Remind Me is such a vibe. Oh goodness, you know. And I love the remake as well, but I think just even the original one, it just captures the essence of that early '92. You know, and moving away from New Jack, you know, it was quite a challenge for them just to say, you know, '92, we've just had the Barbie album that was coming out, but even that wasn't really New Jack. It was more so soulful R&B. But I just love this track, and I think it's just edged out with 2 other tracks. But You Remind Me is number 3 for me. You know that you remind me of a love that doom,
don't kill it. Don't kill
it. It's the way you love me, the way really got me. Yeah. So yeah, it's still a timeless classic, timeless jam. I think I'm disappointed that as much as I love the remake album, I think it didn't help this album because I think it's easy. I kind of forgot, pushed this album aside and went to the remake album. And I think it's easy to redo something from the original, just add a little bit more. And some of the remixes are rude. So yeah, you remind me number 3 for me.
If you'll get really
Jay.
picky, the mix, the mix, it's the same mix as what's on here, but the length is different. On here, it's for over 5 minutes. On here, it's about 4 minutes.
Wow.
But it's still the same. I made that discovery this evening, 30 years on. So you need that. If you want an extra minute of what you don't get on the 411, get this soundtrack and you get an extra minute with you'll hear the breakdown more and you'll hear some more ad-libs coming in, which you don't hear on this album. There you go.
Okay.
Miss J's number 3.
Number 3 would be, she had a lot of reminiscing going on here. I'm going with Reminisce on the love she had. Her backgrounds were beautiful on this song. Reminisce. The video was great too. She was giving a sexy, edgy, soft glam makeup. Mary was doing her thing.
And that's another Green Day for that was an intro track that they how many, I'm just trying to see how many they 4 tracks. No, not 4 tracks.
3. No, 3.
No, it's My Love.
Mm-hmm.
They did My Love. They did Reminisce is 3. But Dave Hall did You Remind. Okay. So they did 3 tracks. Yeah. Okay. Chukwuma just said he actually bought the Strictly Song album just for that track. Okay. Number 3 for you, Stevie.
It was originally at number 2. I bumped it up to number 3, and I'm cursing myself because, again, listening to it, I'm just getting all them feelings back, that tingle back when I'm hearing it. Reminisce has made my number 3. Huge, just such a great record. Strong R&B. Great bass line. The song, it's a great song as well. Really great song. I mean, the remix took it to a whole different level.
Yeah. The remix really did take it to another level. Okay. Right. Okay. So we're down to our top 2. And for me, I've been fighting throughout the evening, which is number 1, which is number 2, which is number 1, which is number 2. But I think for number 2, for me, I had to go with the track that I felt introduced us to Mary. The video with Big Les and the Uptown Dancers. I think she was wearing a Yankee top. It was in New York. Yeah, I think it was a Yankee top, and it was like, and then they sampled Stetsophonic. Stetsophonic. Yes, Stetsophonic. Yeah, Stetsasonic. I think did Daddy-O do some maybe he did the remake. But it was sampled there, Go Brooklyn, and Real Love. Dun, 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 dun. It. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, to burst into the scene with such a iconic track, almost saying, "Yeah, Brooklyn, New York in the house," kind of thing, and this is what we're taking worldwide. Look how she's dressed. With a Timberland boots, with a hat backwards. I ain't gonna be dancing coming up in a dress and and all that stuff. It was, she just came out hard, and it was like, whoa, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And so to me, Real Love is really iconic. It was edged out by my number 1 just because I think the lyrics of number 1 and her vocals on number 1 was just on another level. But Real Love is number 2 for me. Dwayne Adams, we haven't seen in a while. How you doing? Daddy-O produced Top Billing, and that Real Love sampled that. Okay, I think, because on the remake you had Biggie singing "Peace to Daddy-O" and stuff. So I thought that they did Daddy-O did the remake of that. So that was why I thought about that. But that should be this. That could be the case. So, Miss J, we're down to our top 2. What's it going to be for you?
I finally agree with you again. My 1 and 2 have been flip-flopping. On the paper, I have one thing, but I'm making it my number 2 is Her in the White Bustier, and the white cat backwards is Real Love. She just, I love that song. I love the video, and she just stole the show with that one. Like, she just made everybody pay attention and want to listen to her. So, Real Love, number 2.
Yeah, it was a definite groundbreaking entry to come in that. And I've just found out, guys, that actually on the remake album, Daddy-O did did 2 productions. He did the Love No Limits with Kid Capri and Casey Haley, and he did the Real Love remix with Notorious B.I.G. So I knew, yeah, he did those 2. But yeah, Real Love definitely has to be one of the all-time classic ones there. Yeah, everyone's talking about Prince Marky D, who did the production with Carl Rooney. So that's Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys, the late Prince Marky D's Soul Convention. Stevie, what's number 2 for you?
I could argue or say, depending on where you were when these records were coming out, who was playing them, who was influencing on the radio at the time when you're hearing these records, whether you just maybe had none of that, maybe you just bought it blind and just play it and made your own ideas up. But there was so many records at the time that I'd heard on the radio, other DJs that would be playing that, was so big, and they'd influence me. And this got a lot of play on the radio at the time, but on the underground pirate radio stations, all the DJs were playing it as an album cut. I think it's just such a strong song. I know it's this one song has been highly debated tonight. We're opposite ends of the spectrum, me and you, Namdi. But My Love made my number 2 very easily. I just think the chorus is so strong, so memorable. And I will say this though, I wouldn't say there is, again, she tries to hit a note in it around just after 2 minutes, 2:20. She goes for it and abruptly stops. She just can't hit it. She can't do it. But again, it's just what she's putting into that. You can feel it. What she's putting into that song, you can feel it. But great song, and like you say, the remix, the Teddy mix was great with Heavy D on it. But even as an album mix, I just think it's such a well constructed song. So number 2 for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I had it at number 9.
I just heard it.
I had it at number 9. I think
so much on the radio. That's on the pirate. All the pirate radio DJs were playing it. All the underground DJs spinning that record. I just heard it a lot.
Yeah, as I said, and sometimes you can get spoiled when you hear the remake of a song, and then you're like a bit, and it's just said, if this was the, I would rank a lot of these songs differently when on that side, when I do the remake album. But yeah, okay, I'm surprised it's that high up, but I can understand that. Okay, I'm gonna go through my number 10 all the way to number 1. And for the focus of this, I did message, but I would say it was an amazing concept, and she continued it in the Share My World. Yeah, did she keep? There's one that she started it and stopped. I can't remember. Was that the? If she did that, in the Share My World one, it's when they're saying the Queen of Hip Hop Soul and all that stuff, and she's winning those album awards and stuff. But then the Busta Rhymes sort of intro talk, I thought it was a nice little introduction of Butter, but it was not a song to put on there. So my number 10 was the song that I really didn't like. I Don't Want to Do Anything, featuring Casey of Jodeci, produced by DeVante Swing. Very disappointed with that. It could have been much better. My number 9 is My Love, a song that actually I love the remake so much with Heavy D that it disappointed me to listen to the original version. Number 8 is a really good remake of Shaka's Sweet Sing, and I think Mary did something different and unique, and so that's number 8. 7, Changes I've Been Going Through, nice little track. Number 6, What's the 411? Grand Puba, just that's relaxed, chill. I think one of the reasons why I like Grand Puba is that conventional hip hop, I can barely understand what they're saying. I like their flow, but I can't really get their lyrics. So when someone like Heavy D, I can hear what he's saying. Grand Puba is so relaxed that I can hear what he's saying and follow. But a lot of hip hop artists, I can't really hear the lyrics, so that's why it's a challenge. So that's why I really appreciate Puba. So the song was really high for me. I wish this song number 5 could have been higher up, and that's Slow Down. Such an amazing track, but it's in the top 5. Number 4, Love No Limits. You Know That You Remind Me. Number 2 is Real Love. And number 1, oh man, okay, remix aside, I think vocally this was her best song vocally. When she's trying to like an angel trying to find their way home, This was a song that I can just imagine. This is Kenny Green writing that, almost about his own, his where he was and stuff at the time. But Reminisce to me is just such a good track. I think vocally Mary was just vulnerable as she was singing it, and just the whole vibe of the Reminisce is definitely my number 1 song on there. And as I said, I love the CL Smooth remix. I love the between Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Reminisce on Troy. Was it Troy? Original one, and this one as well. So number 1 is Reminisce for me. We've got a number of people who really coming through with that. Diode, Dalvin, and also Tanya. Yeah, Reminisce is number 1 for me. So Miss J, 10 down to 1.
I just want to be. I want to vandalize your house and TP it with toilet paper right now. I'm throwing this at you for your number 10. That's for number 10. Okay.
If loving you is all that I ever want.
Do you think Miss J's got a bit of a violent streak, Namdi?
I do. I'm one of the people who driving the car on the phone with you, like, "Hey girl, how you doing today?" Somebody come up, "You know what you." That's me. And then, girl, yes, that cat was so cute. Yeah, that's it. So I drive TP at your house and throwing toilet tissue at you. I'm okay now. I'm back.
So are you the sort of person that you know, if say your husband cheated on you, would you burn the house down? Would it go that far?
A left eye. That's a left eye kind of.
T-boss. It was burn the house down at TLC.
No, it's left eye. Left eye.
Was it left eye?
Left eye.
Do a left eye? Would you do a left eye?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I plead the 5th. No, I'm not do that.
Wow.
Thank you, Melody. Yeah, people got that. Yeah. What's going on here?
I would not do that.
You wouldn't go that far then.
No.
Well, you definitely you get your boxing gloves on, right? Wouldn't you?
Yes. I have brothers. Remember, it's 8 of us. I don't have to do anything. I just called one of my
Fair
brothers.
enough. Fair enough.
And give him a shovel. No. But starting from 10, what's the 411? I think I changed it, but changes I've been going through. Number 9. Slow Down is 8. 7, My Love. 6, I Don't Want to Do Anything. 5, You Remind Me. 4, Sweet Thing. 3, I didn't mention Reminisce. We didn't mention that it samples MC Light. I love MC Light. Stop, Look, and
Song
Listen.
that is sample?
Stop, Look, and Listen. MC Light. It came out like I think 1989.
Okay.
And they use that. And my number, where am I now? Okay, number 3 was Reminisce. Number 2, Real Love. Number 1 is Baby, There's No Need to Tell You. And then wait a minute, Loving You, Babe. Loving You, Babe. Love Without No Limits. Mary J. Blige, number 1. Love that song.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, the top.
You hit a good note there. You did actually, fair play to you. Hit a good note there.
You get to the top 5, and you're moving things around. It's really hard to debate and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay.
That's a great song. I love it.
Like I said earlier about that record, it could be. I understand if it's people's number 1. I do get it. I totally get it. You know. I do get it.
I hear the Anita Baker love there in that song from her, and she gives us a little. You said not jazz, but to me,
you don't like Anita Baker, do you, Miss J? You don't like Anita Baker, do you, Miss J?
No, and I think she's better. I'm sorry.
You think who's better, Mary?
What?
I enjoyed Mary better. I did when she first came out. I loved Mary J. Blige's voice. I did. I did not. Maybe I was too young to love Anita, but I loved Mary J. Blige when she first came out. I love the sound of her voice. To me, it sounded like, I won't say anything bad about Anita, but I did hear the love for her in that. And a lot of people that I love to listen to, some of my favorites like Maxwell, Toni Braxton, they all love Anita. And whatever she does that inspires them, it comes out beautifully. So I thought her Anita Baker love was very obvious in that song, and it was beautiful. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, when I celebrate everyone as much as I have stuff, but I think, when we think vocally about Anita, Sweet Love and all that stuff, there's a childhood connection with Anita. So yeah, I just think she's, Anita, Sade, they just have distinct voices and stuff. Yes. But as I said, I think Anita. I think the fact that Mary said she was inspired by Anita, even though they're from 2 different lanes, and I would see no connect. Maybe she learned how to connect. I think if you think about Mary, of all singers, she was the one who would sing her pain through her record, heartaches and stuff, and be very vulnerable. And then even when she started to get the opportunity to write her own lyrics from shows where they gave her I think even My Life, she was able to just be vulnerable, and we weren't getting of people being vulnerable on records to that extent, other than Luther. So that was something that we can all relate to with Mary. Yeah. Okay, nice little rundown. Stevie.
Number 10 was What's the 411. Number 9 was Changes. Number 8 was Sweet Thing. Number 7 was Love No Limit. Damn. Number 6, Real Love. Number 5, I Don't Want to Do Anything. Number 4, Slow Down. Number 3, Reminisce. Number 2, My Love. This album, it's a special album. I could say it was quite life-changing for me in that, going back to that record store that I used to visit every Saturday morning. I didn't really know anybody. I was 17, 18. I didn't know anybody. So I was kind of meeting people in there. And I remember this day like it was yesterday, because I was talking to my best friend who I'd not spoke to for a while, about a week ago. And I reminded him about this, and I said, Do you remember we first met as best friends when that Saturday morning when this album came out? And he goes, "Yeah, I do, Steve." And my best friend happened to be, he was a radio presenter on Sunset Radio, which was the first black music radio station in Manchester. It was groundbreaking at that time in the early 90s. That's all I listened to. And he used to have a show on a Monday night. And I kind of met him in this record store. And I said to him, "What do you think about this Mary J?" And he was saying the same thing. It's like, it's going to, I really like it, but it's going to cause divide with the soul community. And he then invited me onto his radio show, and that's how I got into radio. He kind of showed me, because he was older than me, and he was a club DJ as well. So he showed me how to present a radio show. He showed me he'd take me around clubs. He'd show me how to DJ. I wasn't really into DJing. And one of the memories I've got about this #1 record is that we was in this club one night in Manchester. It was dead. There was nobody in it apart from the bar staff. He says, "Go on, Steve, I'll give you half an hour warming up." And I played like half an hour in New Jack Swing. Namdi, I was playing Basic Black, Nothing But a Party, Johnny Gill remix, all the heaviest guys spend the night. Being proud of the set. It was like half an hour in the most banging New Jack Swing. And I said to my friend Andy, said, "What do you think?" I said, "Steve, the club's dead, mate. There's nobody in the club, and you've just played like the hardest, bless you, mate. Bless you, just played the hardest set of track swing I'll ever hear, but there's nobody here to hear it." But what we didn't notice was the bar staff. There was this girl, and she was, this is not a dating situation, but there's this girl in the bar, and she was dancing up and down, going and everything. So by the time my friend came on, he pulls out the Mary J. Blige album, plays this, and there was a few people in the club by then. By about 1 o'clock in the morning, there was a few people in the club. He plays this and I've never forgotten it. He plays this Mary J. Blige record, and she just runs over. She runs over and play that record again, play that, and it just, again, I've never forgotten it. It was played all over the radio at the time. I still get goosebumps now. It's You Remind Me. You Remind Me is the one for me on this album. I've got so many great memories of this album and that record in particular. So it's a no-brainer for me. Thank you very much.
So Mary J. Blige has changed your life. This album changed his life. That's what we just heard.
It's, it sent me on my journey of music, radio, club, whatever, and I met my best friend through that to this day.
Wow.
So,
Reminisce on that. That is awesome.
Yeah, but as Stevie has pointed out, I mean, you went from New Jack Swing to hip hop soul, and you can think about what then happened subsequently, where everyone just said, this is something new. Let's write, and this is what the Untouchables were ready for, and Prince, Marky D, and Rooney were also in that vein to shift and switch. But
Namdi,
yeah,
I know in 1992 that was probably the end of New Jack Swing. I didn't realise then.
Yeah.
I thought New Jack Swing would go on for years and years, but it was the beginning of the end of a lot of things, like you say, beginning of the end of great black female singers, beginning of the end of New Jack Swing, but it brought something totally new in. Like I say, music always changes, doesn't it? Always moves on. You've got to accept that, whether you like it or not. It does move on to different things.
But think about it. Even the Teddy himself, he moved away from that. When Direction Effect, Hard and Smooth, that was a New Jack Swing. When he did the Hard and Smooth, and then they did the Bobby album, then he went to the Blackstreet album. He was moving as well as moving away as well. But definitely this was a shift, because if Jodeci came a year before, and that was Swing album, the Forever My Lady, even though most people play the ballads, but the side 2 was all New Jack Swing. And but there's a new direction, hip hop soul, and Mary really made a mark with this album. And very rare do we see. I mean, we did the Toni Braxton one, and we eulogized about how much we love her voice and her singing. There wasn't it. She didn't do anything. You know, she was like a modern day version of Anita Baker in how she sang, and the track Anita Baker song for a younger girl. Mary came with something that was different, and she just changed the landscape. Yeah. And that's what this album was, a real shift in the order of how music was, our black music was being consumed, and everyone wanted a Mary. Who was the girl that we interviewed, Stevie, that's out on the West Coast? Is it Covington? Is it? No.
Trisha Covington.
Trisha Covington.
Yes.
You know, she was saying that they wanted her to, you know, she sounded amazing and everything, but, you know, they wanted more Mary J's.
Well, she was with the second coming of Mary J for that label for Sony at the time.
And that was hard, you know, you should have allowed, you know, that was the hard thing, it was the standard, but you can't duplicate originality. You know, Mary was original. She wasn't trying to be anyone other than herself. So how do you then try and copy that? And that was hard for everyone else to try to follow in those footsteps. You can't dress like Mary and try and be hard. She was just being herself, and that was hard for anyone else. So, but anyway, I mean,
as a female R&B singer after Mary J. Blige, you were, you know, you got the hip hop soul remix, you know, you Brandy and all them remixes. It all relates back to Mary after this. What I'm saying about the change, they had to go down that direction up to about the late 90s. Yeah. I mean, you could argue the next show was probably Aaliyah, you know, but that's for another podcast.
That's for another podcast. Well, guys, we definitely appreciate, you know, as always, everyone tuning in and being part of the show. As you can see, our top 10 we're very contrasting. We're contrasting, and even you guys who have voted on the chat had a very different outcome in your top 10. But at least one thing that we can also agree on is that actually it's an amazing debut album, and we can also agree that Mary is a legend because she's 16 albums and she's still strong. She's coming to the UK in July. She's going to be playing at the Tottenham Stadium in July, so that's going to be sold out.
Wow, really? The Tottenham Stadium?
The Tottenham Stadium, yeah. She's going to be performing.
I do want to go there, actually. I've never been. I do want to go there. No, that's his team, Spurs, VJ. I know you've been there. I might just reach out for that.
Yeah, so she's going to be coming to, and she's just finishing. She's got 2 or 3 more dates with her tour in the US. She's performing with Neo and Mario, so that's a really good set. And she's doing her thing, you know, 53 or 50, looking amazing. So thanks to you guys for all your comments. It makes the show. You stand it is that we're talking about the album, but your comments add to the whole show. So we couldn't do it without you guys. So hopefully you guys.
Incredible turnout from everyone tonight.
Yeah,
spending your Saturday night with us three. Spending your Saturday night with us when you could have been doing anything else. You could have gone for an Indian takeaway. You could have watched a film. You could have gone out to a club. You could have gone out to a bar. You could have, and you're here with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thanks for everyone. I mean, Derek, Melodic, Dalvin, Swing, you know, VJ, I can see you in the chat and stuff like that. I think I just remembered the music news that I wanted to bring. And believe it or not, R. Kelly called from a prison cell to do an interview on how they managed to get that. I'd love to get him on the show. He has recorded 25 albums in prison, and he's making music. And he sang so it's all over the news. So it's on TMZ, it's everywhere. It's on Billboard magazine. He said he's recorded up to 25 albums, in prison. So the gifting is still there. He's serving his time. So that was just, search that out. He's it's really him. But
what has he got a little studio set up in his prison cell?
I think they will always have that opportunity during their time to be able to have access to music and stuff like that during the recreational time.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but to record 25 albums, it just shows that. But he was always knocking out songs.
Let's hope they don't give him a dungeon there as well. As it'll all go very wrong. Anyway, move on now.
Yeah, but anyway, guys, we've got we've got 2 more shows, maybe 3, but 2 for sure. Next week is the Blackstreet album, and then the 22nd is the Control album, Janet Jackson's Control album. So definitely, yes, it's 25 albums. So definitely stay tuned. Now, yesterday we did the Dwayne Wiggins tribute. That was not planned, and Stevie and Andrew and I, within hours' notice, just jumped on, and that really did well. So we appreciate joining on that. So we may pop up with 1 or 2 more surprises before the end of the month, but for now, as I said, Blackstreet next Sunday, Control album on the 26th, and if we do 1 or 2 other surprise ones. But for myself, for Miss J, and for Stevie, keep celebrating, keep blessing our artists, and keep just let's live life and enjoy and stuff like that. So till next time, we'll see you guys.